The International Magician Society's Magic Academy Course of Magic, Volume 35, Sponge Ball Magic. Now, please welcome your instructor, David Oliver.
Hi, welcome to the next video in our series. My name is David Oliver, and on this tape we're going to show you some really cool stuff with one of the best props you could ever use in close-up magic, sponge balls. So let's get to it. Actually, would you mind if I borrowed one? You don't know what I'm asking for.
No.
I just like to borrow one.
I haven't one.
You haven't one. Well, it's right here. I promise I'll put it back as long as you're not using it right now. You're not using this, are you?
No, I'm not.
Oh, good. That makes my job easier. As long as I can use it, it would be a good thing. Madam, I need your help for just a moment, if you don't mind. If I place the ball right here, would you do me a favor and just blow on the back of the hand? Would you blow on the back of the hand again? Would you blow on the back of the hand one more time? It's okay, thank you. Watch very carefully. Just a squeeze. And the ball goes. Would you like to see that one again?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you like to see that one again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Could I have another one? You, go ahead, check. No? Perfect.
I forgot about
Yeah,
that
that's
one.
what I like. Someone who brings his own. Makes my job easier. Let's make it easier for everyone to follow if we take the ball and give it just a little tiny rub. And now there's two. One for the gentlemen, one for the ladies. Miss, would you hold your hand out like this for me? Perfect. Hold it up a little lower. It's a magic show. I have to use one of those jokes. Keep your hand right there. I'm going to hold onto this ball. I'd like you to hold onto this one nice and tight. Do not let it go. Make a fist. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Turn your hand over just like this. The ball is going to disappear from your hand. It's going to travel through the air to my hand, so I have two and your hand is empty. And it's going to happen just like that. It's gone from your hand. Say yes.
Yes.
Good. Now for the difficult part. I'm going to send it back. So you guys aren't buying any of this, are you? It's worth a shot. Go ahead, tell them it's gone.
It's gone.
Very convincing. Hold your hand over the table next to mine. Turn it over slowly. Open it slowly and show everyone it's gone and oh, wait a minute. That's not supposed to happen like that. Oh, let's see. Sir, would you mind reaching over to the table here? Hold your hand up. Gentlemen know how to do this. Hold your hand just like that. I'm going to hold onto this ball, hold onto this one nice and tight. In fact, a little bit tighter than she did. Make a fist. Turn your hand over. Oh, I know why it didn't work. You know what I forgot? My magic, there's one, yes. Well, this is the 90s. I use a magic marker. And I wrote that. Pretty sharp. 2, 3. Thank you. Here we go. The ball will leave your hand, travel to mine. Just like that. Did you feel that?
Sure.
No. You don't know if you felt it or not. You're not sure. You didn't feel this. Very good. Hold your hand over the table. Slowly open it up. Show everyone it is in fact gone, and that I have a big problem here. And let's try this a little bit differently. How about if I handle these from now on? Make it much easier for everyone. Here's ball number 1. Ball number 2. If I take ball number 3 and place it into the pocket, how many should be in the hand?
2.
A little confusion. Let's try it again. I'll go nice and slow. It's okay. Don't worry. There's number 1. Number 2. Number 3 goes where?
In the pocket.
Into the pocket. How many should be in the hand?
2.
3.
Let's do this one more time. In fact, I'm going to keep doing it until everyone gets it right, which may take a while. Where does number 3 go?
In the pocket.
Into the pocket. So how many should be in the hand?
3.
2.
3.
Is this getting too confusing? Am I going too fast? All right, we'll just skip this one. I didn't like it anyway.
Ooh.
This next thing I'd like to show you is something that I love to do in restaurants or close-up situations when there are kids around. It's a good routine to help the parents teach the kids how to count. The kids like to play along, and in fact, we're going to get a couple of people here to play the part of a kid. I usually bring some extra sponge balls with me. There's one for you, and a second one for you.
And thank you.
There's one for you, and guess what? Your very own second one. I happen to have 2 more just for me. Pretend that you're a couple of kids. I'm scared. We're going to do a little counting game. I need you both to follow along. I'm going to do it first, and then I'm going to show you how to do it. And you can follow along. It's quite simple. 2 balls are placed on the table in front of you, leaving just about 7 or 8 inches in between them. I'm going to do this the first time. Watch very carefully. That's number 1. I think you can try that. Take your right hand. That's your right hand. That's your right hand. Very good. Place it down at number 1.
1.
Oh, and you count as well. That's good.
I heard you do it.
You're the older of the children,
Yes.
aren't you? Yes, yes.
I can
1.
count. So
Very good. You can work for any age. It's a good thing. That's number 1. Here's number 2.
2.
Number 3, we're going to turn our right hand over. That's 3. Very good. 4 is the other hand. 4. Very good. 5, I want you to pick up the ball under your right hand. Not over, but under your right hand. That's 5. Very good. 6, we're going to turn your hand with the ball over. That's 6. Very good. 7, I want you to place this ball into the other hand. Ready? That's 7. 8, I want you to pick up the ball that's still on the table. 9, show it to everyone. And 10, put it in your hand in a fist. Okay? Let's walk through that one more time.
Wait.
And watch what happens. You're going to love this.
Okay.
Okay? This is something you're going to enjoy when you get home, if you can remember it. Here's number 1. Then we have 2, followed by 3, and 4. You're doing very well.
Thank you.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. If you wiggle your thumbs, now just your left one, now just the right one. Turn your hands over and look. Each ball has changed places with the other one. Isn't that amazing? Watch what happens if you do a little quicker, though. You might be able to stop it halfway through. I'll do this one by myself, and I want you two to practice this when you get home. But I need you to count nice and loud with me.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay?
Okay.
Very good. Here we go. There's 1,
1,
and 2,
2,
and 3,
3,
and 4,
4,
5,
5,
6,
6,
7, 8,
8,
9, 10.
10.
Wiggle one thumb, wiggle the other thumb, wiggle both thumbs. Say go.
Go.
Oops. See where I stopped you? Right in the middle of the word go. They don't actually travel at the same time. One actually travels before the other one, and then the second one travels back and changes places. Let's see yours. Did they change places? They did,
Yes,
in fact,
they
change
did. I'm a
places.
magician.
Let's take a look at yours. Did they change? They did change places. You did very good. And let's take a look at mine. Let's see if they changed places, or if we did catch them halfway between, where one ends up on the other side, just like that.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Very good, very good. Well, you can practice that when you get home because you can take those home with you. And you can take those home with you.
Thank you.
And now it's time for the explanation portion. The first routine I did is one that I've been doing in restaurants for a long, long time. And it requires the use of 4 sponge balls. I use the Goshman Super Soft sponge balls. For me, they seem to be a lot fluffier, livelier, and bouncier, and easier to conceal. You'll see as we move along. The setup is very, very simple. 2 of the sponge balls go together in the back of a pocket. The other 2 sponge balls go together in the front edge of your pocket. Can't be easier than that, and now you're ready to go. When approaching a table, when approaching a group of people who aren't sure that I'm doing magic, I don't generally like to come up, and I just wipe my nose again, I don't generally like to do that either, so I don't generally like to come up and just do magic right away. I like to get them off guard and ask a question first. So I'll approach the table and say, do you mind if I borrow one? They're stunned. They have no idea what I'm talking about. They don't know what I'm asking for. And they just kind of watch for a moment. As I'm talking, I'll rest, placing my hands in my pockets, taking the 2 balls from the front and keeping them in my hand. Turn to the left, gesture to the person left of me. I generally try to find someone wearing a jacket. This is for the first secret load. I'll pull back his jacket, reach in with the 2 sponge balls, placing one up high above his clavicle, just out of his peripheral vision. He can't see past the edge of his jacket, taking out the other sponge ball. As I take out the other sponge ball, I'll gently press back on his jacket, which will stop him from having a tendency to open his jacket. I'll show everyone the ball, it gets a chuckle at the table, and they think that's all there is to it. But I'm secretly loaded for a reappearance in just a couple of seconds. Now for the first vanish. The first vanish that I do is something I like to call the Oliver Spongeball Vanisharoo. Big name, you can thank Gary Willett for that. It's generally just a retention vanish, but with a couple of small twists. Oliver's twists. The ball is held between the thumb and forefinger of the right hand. Usually when someone does a retention vanish, your right hand is going to reach out, grab the ball, and pull it back in. There's a big action of these fingers flying out to grab the ball and pulling back. I've eliminated that. Instead of reaching these fingers out and grabbing the ball to pull it in, the thumb and index finger will pull the ball back, grasp the ball with one of your fingers, and then stick those two back out again. One more time. You start here, pull back, and stick those two out. This is under the cover of the back of your hand and the cover of your left hand. The ball is placed here. As you start closing your left hand, these pull back and stick out again under the cover of these fingers of your left hand. Close the fingers of your left hand and let your right hand relax down. You can hold the ball in thumb palm, you can hold it in a finger palm, or you can just crumple it next to your side. As long as you focus all of your attention here, no one will notice this hand if you let it drop in a natural motion. Show this hand that apparently has the ball, squeeze, blow, any other magical gesture you want, slowly open it, and show that the ball has gone. Now you've executed the first vanish. Most people won't look at the other hand right away. They may think about it, but they won't, because I interrupt them and say, well, thank you very much, because sometimes they clap, and I'll say, could I have another? Now he's caught off guard again. He thought he was done. Not in my show. Here's what will happen, one of three reactions. He could pull his jacket open and not see the ball. It's out of his vision, he can't see the ball. That's the perfect reaction. There's another reaction. He could pull it open and see the ball. If he sees the ball, it's an immediate reaction. The audience sees it. He can reach up and take it out. I never reach in and take it out. I let the spectator reach in and take it out. The third reaction, he opens his jacket, does not see the ball, but everyone else here does see the ball. They react, he doesn't. The first reaction that I showed you was by far the best, because no one at the table sees the ball. He does not see the ball. When that happens, you have a wonderful, wonderful situation to make some beautiful magic. Because he's looked, the ball is not there. You say, really? It's not there?
Nope.
Now check. This will force him to check a little harder than he did the first time. When he does that, he'll pull the jacket back, see the ball inside, and now apparently the ball was not there a moment ago when you vanished it. And he looked a second time and it was right inside of his jacket. It's a very, very strong reproduction of the ball. The ball comes out, everyone claps, you're ready to move on. You still have this ball secretly hidden in your right hand. Take back the ball in your left hand, hold it up, and make some comment to him about how amazing that was to be inside of his jacket. As everyone's laughing and still reminiscing about that, let your right hand relax a little bit and join both balls together. Both balls are now together. Just hold them again in your hand as one. There's a move that's been around for a long time where you take a ball and rub it on the table and split it into two. Unfortunately, there are a lot of table situations that you work at where there are other things on the table and you're unable to put things on the table and spread them around. Take the same move and do it in your hand. Place both balls as one with the crease facing up. Put your middle finger of your right hand over the crease and start gently rolling. As you roll, the balls will naturally separate. If they don't separate, pinch in with these two fingers and just fluff them up a little bit and they will separate in your hands. And now you have taken one ball and helped it to grow into two. You've now cleaned up from the earlier mess of having the ball hidden in your hand and taken their ball and multiplied it. You're now ready for the next phase. This is the second part where you need a volunteer. Ask someone to hold out their hand for you. Have them hold it up, just at about a little higher than waist high for you. So you can accomplish this much more comfortably. Actually, I want to say that one more time just so we can try to keep their hand, 3, 2, 1. Keep their hand at about waist high, so it's a little more comfortable for you in the next sequence. Take the first ball, Vanish it using the Oliver Sponge Ball Vanisheroo, the retention vanish. Here. Oh, one other tip. As you put the ball in, try to leave it sticking out. This is where you get the visual retention. And as you pull your hand to the side slightly is when you execute the pull and grab. So from the front, they see the ball going in. As you turn slightly, they remember the ball staying in there. Okay? The ball is secretly over here. Grab the second ball on the table. You can show it freely. My hand is above their eye level. No one can see the little bit of sponge ball showing in here, unless they look really closely. But it's just above their eye level, so they really can't follow it. Bring it up above your eye level, and as you bring it down to place it in their hand, you're going to join the two balls together, and I press it directly into their palm with one finger. It's a very subtle way of showing that your hand is empty and that there is only one ball. Immediately ask the spectator to close their hand. You close your hand, take your finger out. Now to stop them from turning their hand towards them and opening it, ask them to turn their hand over. So would you turn your hand palm down? Perfect. They're afraid to open their hand at this point because they don't want to drop what's in their hand and ruin your act. Make a magical pass, a magical gesture, and explain to them the ball will be disappearing from their hand and appearing in yours. Usually they'll squeeze a little tighter because they don't think this is going to happen. And in actuality, it doesn't happen. It's just the reverse. You snap, ask them to turn their hand over. Now while all attention is focused on their hands, I ask people to bring their hands a little bit closer to the table. This allows me to lean and comfortably rest my hand back in my pocket to steal a second ball. So their hand is here, all the attention is on the table. They slowly open their hand, and now there are two. As you reach to grab the two balls that are rolling away from you, which is also drawing the attention away from you, you take your hand out of your pocket, and you now have the next ball loaded. Grab the two balls, bring them back, ask a spectator on the other side to hold their hand out. I try to include as many people in my routines as possible. Would you hold your hand out for me, sir? Perfect. Do the same thing, only with the ball in your hand. We're going to do the same vanish, but with the ball still in your hand. Place the ball here, pull out, it's gone. They don't know that yet. You now have two here. Pick up the third ball. Again, you're going to stop and gesture. Go slightly above their sight line, and as you come down in their hand, join all the balls together. Pressing with one finger, I generally don't have to say close your hand. It will happen automatically because they saw the other spectator do that. If they don't do that, just ask them to close their hand and turn their hand over. Now you're a couple of steps ahead. Now you're a couple of steps ahead. What will happen is one of several things. They will follow your directions and have an amazing production of three balls. Or they may wink and nudge at the people at the table and say, I feel two in my hand. That's okay. They've got three. You'll get them either way. So have them hold their hand out. I make a gag about the magic marker. You can use a magic wand, salt, wiffle dust, anything you'd like. Snap your fingers. Would you turn your hand over slowly? Before he opens it, again, ask him to extend his hand over the table. You relax, reach into your pocket, taking out the final ball, hold it in your hand, and have him open his hand slowly. He opens his hand slowly. There are the three balls. Again, reach forward, bring them back. Now you're set for the final phase. You've involved some spectators. You don't want to let the show get away from you. You keep the show towards yourself. The final phase. This is my favorite part. A lot of magicians will take a sponge ball routine, and at the end they have a very large production. Many sponge balls, all sorts of other sponge objects, big things. We'll show you some of those later. This is one that I really prefer because if you're doing table hopping and you're going around from table to table, you'll be instantly reset for your next table. Watch. You have three that are visible and one that is still hidden in your hand. Show the first ball and count one. This ball is hidden behind your three fingers. No one can see it. You're going to place both balls in your hand. It's the old two in your hand, one in your pocket thing. Most people do it on the second one. We're doing it on the first. Place both balls in your hand. and count 1. It's a very subtle way of showing your hand empty, and they think you only had 1 ball. The second ball I show between these 2 fingers and then grab it with my thumb. They remember the picture of this a little bit more. Ball number 2. I now have 3, but they assume there's only 2. Come back for the third ball on the table and say, I'll place this ball, number 3, into my pocket. You don't actually do that. You retain it in your hand. But don't take your hand out of your pocket just yet. Ask the audience members how many balls should be in your hand. They'll shout out a wide variety of numbers, usually 2. Open your hand slowly and show them all 3. When the attention is focused here, that's when you take your hand out of your pocket again with the ball. Again, place the 3 balls back on the table. Now the spectators are ready to kill you. They're going to be watching like vultures this time. Do it exactly the same. There's ball number 1. Same move. Ball number 2. They've seen your hand empty again. If I place ball number 3 into my pocket, how many should be in the hand? Sometimes, because this hand's in a fist, people will start pointing and saying, oh, there's one in that hand. I'll just sort of show the hand empty without calling attention to it, just to get them a little bit off guard. Snap your hand again, slowly open, and show them you'll do it 1 more time because there are 3. The final phase is done in a sort of offbeat way. This way you can get rid of all 3 without them noticing. They'll be laughing and chuckling the second time because they see this happen. I don't wait for them to stop. Ball number 1 goes directly into the hand and is held in a light thumb palm position. Don't squeeze it tight, just leave it there lightly. Ball number 2, I'm going to show, but I'm not drawing attention to it. As part of the patter, I'll talk to the audience members about not being able to follow the first 2 times. And I'll say, this time I'm going to do it until you all get it right. It gets a chuckle, they're relaxed, they're off guard, they're not paying as close attention. The vanish is slightly different. The second ball gets placed on top of the first, and it's a much simpler vanish. Your right thumb is just going to grab the 2 balls against your right fingertips and pull away. At the same time, your left hand closes. You immediately go down for ball number 3. Up to speed, this is what it would look like. Here's ball number 1. I'm going to keep doing this until you all get it right. Ball number 3. You have 2 hidden, 1 out in the open. Place all 3 balls into your pocket. Take your hand out, gesture, and wait for the kill. They'll all be yelling numbers. Ask them if it gets too confusing. Snap your fingers and show them your little miracle. And now it's time for the second explanation using the kids at the table. I'll do both sequences myself. All you have to do is ask the kids to follow you along with the first sequence. The first sequence is just a matter of motor skills. 2 sponge balls on the table in front of you. Separate them so when you place your hands on top of them, your hands are not close together. If your hands are close together, they may think you just slid the ball underneath. Even if you didn't, that's an explanation they'll believe, and there is no trick. Have plenty of space in between them. It's a very easy counting sequence. Number 1, right hand down. Number 2, your left hand down. Number 3, right hand turns up. Number 4, left hand turns up. Number 5, your right hand will turn down and pinch the ball under it. Number 6, turn your right hand up. Number 7, place the ball into your left hand. Number 8, your right hand will pick up the ball underneath. 9, show it to the audience. And 10, both hands turn over into fists. The gag that you use here is that the balls are going to change places. Obviously they don't. However, the kids will get a chuckle out of it. Now you ask them to follow along. As they're following along, on step number 7, you're going to do the Oliver Spongeball Vanisharoo that we learned earlier. Watch. There's number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6. On number 7 is when you do the vanish. Number 8, 9, and 10. have the kids follow along, wiggle their thumbs, and show you that their balls have changed places. They'll chuckle and expect you to have the same result. But when you turn your hands over, one will be gone and will have traveled over and joined the other one. And now here are a few tips for you on the care and handling of your favorite sponge balls. First, as I said earlier, I like to use the Goshman Super Soft Balls. If you don't have the Goshman Super Soft Balls, you can take regular sponge balls made by any company and make them softer. By grabbing the ball, you can pry apart the center of the ball. If you slightly tear, you can make the ball hollow inside, which thins it out just a little bit and makes it squish smaller. It'll be easier to vanish and it will fit in your hand much nicer. If you use the Goshman Super Soft, or any other sponge ball for that matter, sometimes if it sits in your case or in your pockets for too long, well, it ends up looking a little different. I don't know which one I'd rather perform with. Actually, I think I do. But you don't need to throw these out. You don't need to go to your local magic shop and buy new ones. Here's a little magic tip for you. When working restaurants, I head into the nearest restroom, find a sink in the corner, and about every 10 tables or so, take the sponge ball that's squished in pretty bad shape, and soak it in cold water. Make sure it's cold water and not hot water. Hot water will in fact melt the sponge material, will melt the foam. If you soak it till it's in a gel-like state and it fills up with water, it is a sponge after all. It looks really disgusting. However, all you have to do is wring it out, preferably in a sink. Take a paper towel and dry it. After all, you don't want to go back to a table and put a wet sponge ball in someone's hand. Dry it off, and that's the same squished ball. Pretty amazing. It even looks better than the one that I've only been using for 10 minutes. If you're working one-on-one with someone, or for a television audience, here's a neat little one that you can try. Start out with the Oliver Sponge Ball Vanisharoo, my favorite one, of course. Place the ball in. As you begin to show this hand empty, you load the ball to the back of your hand and hold it with your thumb for just a moment. Both hands are empty. As you close your hands, you can grab the ball again, show that it's still gone, or reproduce it. Now let's take a look from the back. Here's the back view. The first vanish. Open the hands. They've seen the inside of the hands. Give them a chance to see the outside of the hand. And it's back.
Beautiful.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed learning about sponge balls. I've had a lot of fun doing sponge ball magic over the year for my friends and clients, and I hope you do too. Keep practicing and enjoy your magic. Thanks for watching.